These are the top 5 Prime Day RGB accessory deals. If at any point during the video you want to check out any of these 5 deals, there's Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links, but let's jump into the number 5 spot. Now, these neon signs are awesome. A personal favorite for me on a really tight budget normally, but on Prime Day, even cheaper. They've got a ton of different designs and almost all of them are on sale, ranging from 10% off all the way to 48% off, getting as cheap as $8.98. So these are really budget friendly typically, but on Prime Day, for a little bit less than $9, you're getting a really cool upgrade to your setup, your gaming room, whatever. These are an awesome accent for especially right now. Now, my personal favorite 3 are a game sign, which is kind of like a game controller, a live sign. As a creator, I love that. It's kind of like going live, and then a sheesh sign, which I absolutely love. The game controller was $22.99. Now it is 30% off to only $15.99. That is a really good value, seeing as these look almost identical to neon signs, but they're RGB, so they don't take as much electricity. And you can get them for this much money on Prime Day right now. Okay, so then the sheesh sign was $29.99. It is now $19.19. And the live sign, which is the most expensive at $39.99, is now $23.99. So you're getting a huge discount on my personal favorite 3. And then they've got a bunch of smaller signs, different signs, stuff like that. Check them out, links below. So these aren't actually neon signs. They are an RGB strip, essentially, that has a heavy diffuser on it. However, they get very bright, so they're actually gonna put out quite a bit of light, kind of bounce that very pretty RGB light around. And because they're RGB, they can make them more inexpensively, obviously, as well as obviously saving on that energy cost. Now, these aren't customizable or anything. You can't customize the light, so you kind of have to look at them, and if you like that, then get them. However, these are kind of one of those things you're gonna put on your wall, you're gonna leave there, and it's just gonna look so cool. These have upgraded the heck out of my setup, and I just absolutely love them. And for the price, you can't beat it, especially today on Prime Day. So go check them out below, but let's move on to the number 4 spot, and this is the Govee Flow Plus. You're gonna see a lot of Govee stuff here today. Govee makes some really cool RGB stuff. So these were previously $64.99, and now they are $43.99. That is a substantial discount, 32% discount. Now you can put these wherever you want. You can put them on your desk setup, you could put them on either side of your TV, or you could stick them to the back of your TV, which is what I personally did. Now these get very bright, super customizable. The Govee app is probably the best RGB app controller out there. It's incredibly easy to use. You can customize it almost infinitely. You can do different colors along that kind of bar that it is, because it's an RGB IC, which basically just means the whole RGB element does not have to be a single color, but it can actually be multiple colors along that. So if you wanted the bottom to be green, fading into blue, you can do that. The other cool thing about having an RGB IC is that you have all of these different modes. So some of my favorite modes kind of fade into a dark blue to kind of a light blue, and it just kind of fades. Now, a lot of these RGB, kind of cheaper RGB things that you'll get from China, stuff like that, they have these weird modes that no one really uses, and you just look at them and you're like, what is that? These are clean, they're minimal, and the effects actually work in a setup. Like a blue fading to a light blue, or a red fading to an orange and then fading back. It's more subtle, it's much cleaner, and honestly, it just enhances the vibe. If you have a TV room or a movie theater room, you know, your home theater room, or if you have your TV in your bedroom or just in the living room and it's totally dark, and you want some ambience when you're watching a movie, or on your desk setup when you're playing some games and you want a lot of RGB light, these are so good for that. And now that they're only $43.99, they're incredibly affordable as well. The other thing that I love is because they're RGB IC, they also display white tones quite well. So if you do just want to be no RGB, but you just want it to use it kind of like a light, not like a RGB light, but like a light like those behind there, you can absolutely use it like that, which is very cool. But overall, at 32% off, if you're into that kind of RGB, I definitely recommend these. There are Amazon links below again, but let's move on to the number 3 spot. This again is from Govee, and you don't actually know this, but you've been looking at it the whole time. these two awesome lamps back here. These are the Govee Lyra lamps. They were $99.99. They are now $69.99, so 30% off. These lamps are absolutely awesome. I have used the absolute heck out of these. They've been in my setup for a long time now, and previously before that, they were in a TV setup. I'm just gonna list off the things that I absolutely love about this, because the number one thing is that they're incredibly diffused. It's basically this long strip that comes up, this long metal post with then a very, very bright RGB strip that's incredibly diffused with this rubber piece, this very thick diffused rubber, which is awesome. That means that you don't necessarily have to point them back at the wall and hit the wall or hit a corner like I'm doing here, but you can actually put them straight out. And because they're very bright, you might think, oh, they're gonna blind me. Well, you can decrease the brightness as much as you want. These are very adjustable in the app. Again, using that same Govee app. So if you wanna do like an amber color or a gold color or a teal color and aim them at you, this can look absolutely incredible. But the other cool thing is they have a white element, a literal separate white element in the RGB strip. So you can see behind me, this doesn't look like RGB white, which is usually sometimes green or a little bit purple or a little bit blue. This is legit white. So you can do a ton of different kelvins, which is just the color temperature of a white light. So this puts out a ton of light, more than most light bulbs do, even incredibly bright light bulbs. So you can see I have those on white behind me. And in fact, I'm gonna show you right now. Besides the app, it comes with this little remote. So if I wanna do a color, you just click the color button. And there we go. Now it's red. I have the backlight on behind the TV. So turn that off, and remember, this is an insanely bright room. So we'll go to some different colors. There's kind of a blue. This really does not show it off. You can see in the B-roll right here that it gets super bright. But again, if we wanna go back to the white, we click white, and then we can go a little bit warmer. There's kind of a warm tone. You can see that's a warm white, but it's still a white light. Then we can go back to the cool setting, how I always have it. And we can dim it down. Dimming it down a bunch. Look at that. Those are still on right now. They're just that dim. And then turn it up, turn it up, turn it up. Ah, I love these things. And also a fun little fact, one remote will control both of them, which is very convenient. Now, the overall design of them and build quality is incredibly premium. The base is very heavy, like it is quite heavy, and the stand is using a metal alloy, which is very cool and very premium. And for their price tag of almost $100, they should be premium, but right now, again, remember, $69.99. And as well, like the last Govee product, these are RGB IC, so you can do multiple colors along this strip, and the effects are so good on this Lyra lamp. These are probably the best effects because of just how long they are. The ocean effect, where it goes from a light blue to a dark blue, just goes up it, and it's so vibey. You can match them to be the same if you want to get 2 of them or 3 of them or 4 of them. But I personally love the 2 on either side of a setup or something like that. These are one of my favorite RGB accessories ever. Overall, for the price, if you guys are into these things, this is the time to buy them. I have not seen them at this price, I don't think ever, even on Black Friday last year. This is a good price. But let's move on to the number 2 spot, and that is the Nanoleaf Hexagons. These things are absolutely awesome, and I'm sure you guys have heard of them, but they are a very premium RGB accessory kind of thing. Wall-mounted accessory. They are very premium, and the build quality, the overall RGB effects, the app, everything is very premium about these, but they're also expensive at $199.99. But right now, on Prime Day, you can get these 20% off for $159.99. So if you are gonna make the move and get some Nanoleaf Hexagons, those are my favorite Nanoleafs of the Nanoleafs, this is the time to do it. These are still definitely expensive, but if you guys are already thinking about getting Nanoleafs, this is the time to do it. Now these also get insanely bright. My camera almost can never pick up the actual color because they are so dang bright. Now you can dim them down, but they always look best full brightness, and the colors are incredibly vibrant at full brightness. If it looks good in the camera, it looks way better in person because the camera's ISO just cannot pick up the actual color. Now, the really interesting thing about Nanoleafs, and the thing that you never really get with any other RGB, or I have never found it, is that these Nanoleafs display subtle colors, muted colors incredibly well. Basically, all RGB doesn't really display muted colors well, but these Nanoleafs, like you can do a light pink, or a light purple, and they look beautiful. So if you guys are into more of a minimalistic look, but not a minimalistic look, just more of a clean look or more of a subtle, or if you like more earth tones rather than in-your-face gamery RGB, this is definitely the thing for you. Now you can do the in-your-face gamery pink and blue unicorn puke kind of look. You can definitely do that with these, but the really cool thing is you can have this more subtle look. And if you wanted to create a minimalistic setup or a minimalistic TV setup or a minimalistic room setup and then put these in it, it's not gonna take away from that minimalism and just destroy it with unicorn puke. You can actually do some subtle earth tone colors, which I really love. Kind of more pastel-y colors. Now, there are a bunch of different modes. You can do static colors, you can do a music effect. The music effect's actually not bad. Most music effects are kind of bad, but I like this one. My favorite one is random. You can pick a bunch of different colors or you can use their presets and it'll just do a bunch of these random colors. And it's very easy to customize your own colorways and make your own effects, make your own settings and stuff like that. And a cool little party trick is they are touch sensitive. So if you swipe your hand across them, they'll kind of like glow with your hand. So if you have friends over or if you have your family over and you want to show them a cool trick, you just touch them a little bit and they kind of glow up, which is very cool. Now the other thing is when you get something like this, especially when it's expensive, it gets a little bit stressful to mount this kind of stuff. However, this stuff is very easy to mount because the mounting mechanism actually rotates. So you stick them to the wall with a command strip style piece, like a 3M, that does not rip the paint off. I can tell you it does not rip the paint off. We just actually removed them from our last apartment. So they are paint safe if you're worried about that. But how they mount is they stick on the wall and then they still spin. So even if you stick it on and it's not perfectly straight, you can kind of twist it a little bit and then align the next one on that one. So they're actually very easy to mount. It was really easy to mount them and make sure that they're straight or flat, depending on how your setup is going to be. So I wouldn't worry about mounting them, which I was actually very nervous about before I mounted them. But yeah, overall, not the biggest discount in the world, not compared to Govee. However, these Nanoleafs are expensive. And if you do want to save some money or get a couple packs, you can definitely do that. So this one, which is the 7-pack, $199, now 20% off, $159.99. But let's move on to the number none spot. Honorable mention time. Let's talk about it. Let's say you want the idea of the Nanoleafs, but you don't want to spend the money. Well, Lumoonosity, the company that makes those neon signs, well, they also make a hexagon style light. Now it's smaller, and I think it really looks best when it's sitting on your desk. But basically it's the same idea. You can create your designs with these smaller style hexagon RGB lights, and then you can set them on a stand and set them on your desk, or you can also place them on the wall. I think they look best placed on the desk. You can customize them with a bunch of stuff. Then they do have some cons. The con that I see is that there's no app, so you do have to use the remote. Although you can customize the lights and do a lot of DIY stuff and do different settings and effects through the remote, even though you don't have an app, but I would have liked to see an app. They're also not touch sensitive like the Nanoleafs, but that's to be expected because the price was $69.99, but they are now $47.99. So that is 31% off. That is a substantial discount and more than 3 times less expensive than the Nanoleafs on sale. Now these are very bright, they're very vibrant. I think it looks best with a static color on it to match your setup or to do an accent color to your setup. Now you can stick these to your wall like the Nanoleafs, but the sticky element, like the sticking element that it comes with in the box looks pretty serious. And the good thing is if you stick them to something, they're probably not gonna come off. The bad thing is they're probably not gonna come off. So if you do stick them, I would assume that they would rip the paint off. I would have a hard time believing that they wouldn't. So that's probably one con, but again, I think these look best on the desk anyway, so there it is. But let's move on to the number 1 best deal for RGB accessories. And this is actually 2 deals. These are the Govee glides. Govee just kills it with RGB accessories. Let's talk about it. Govee glides are these thick kind of strips that you can put on your wall. Again, these are rental safe. I've actually stuck them twice and the sticky element has stayed good for 2 moves, which is very cool. But basically they come in the strips about this long and they're these plastic pieces that you can then customize with a corner piece and then do more straight lines. You can do a bunch of different designs with these, similar to the Nanoleafs, but a totally different idea. Very original, and I definitely like it a lot. But there are 2 deals going on. So there's 6 straight pieces with 1 corner piece, and that was $99.99, but for Prime Day, it is $79.99. And I think that's a good deal, but the fantastic deal is this one. 8 straight pieces, 4 corner pieces, previously was $149.99, It is now $89.99. That gives you a ton of RGB and a ton of customizability because you get 4 corner pieces. That one is 40% off. You get almost half off. Okay, so the first thing to go over is they're incredibly easy to mount. These mount with kind of a hybrid command strip. So they go on the wall and you can peel them off, and they do not peel the wall off. I just ripped them straight off the wall. They never peeled the paint off once. So that's a good thing. They're rental safe, they're paint friendly. Even if you just don't wanna peel your paint off, they're totally fine. They will not do that at all. But they're kind of hybrid because on the other side of that sticky, there is actually a Velcro. So these attach via Velcro to the sticky, and the sticky attaches to the wall. This is really good because when you stick them to the wall, let's say it's not perfectly flat, you don't have to pull the sticky off, you just pull the panel off, and then you can just realign it because that sticky is thick enough where you can just move the Velcro and stick it right back on. So that made it so freaking easy to get straight. So easy. This is probably the easiest thing to mount on your wall and probably the easiest thing to take off. Okay, so now that we have that out of the way, they are super freaking bright. I mean, these will, even if you have a big room and you put them on your wall, they're going to light up the entire room. Now, as you would expect, this whole thing is color diffused because you're looking directly at the element, but it's just diffused a ton. So there's no harsh light, which is good, and it's diffused nicely. It also displays white tones pretty well, not as well as these, obviously, but it still does it pretty well. So if you do just wanna make it white, rather than having like a blue or whatever color you want, or a really gamery like RGB color, you can just make it white and just kind of light your room a little bit, or actually a lot of it. They're very bright. And as well, because this is Govee, it has the same Govee app. The cool thing is if you get multiple Govee products, it's all the same app. You can just tap between the different RGB accessories that you have. But this one has a ton of modes. It has an ocean mode, like I was saying, going from blue to darker blue. I think I'm making it sound like they only have a few modes. There's like 160 modes. It's insane. And then you have static colors. This is RGBIC, so you can do any color you want along that strip. So you can do a static color, you can make custom modes. You could literally spend months just making modes and making different colorways for these things. It's infinite customizability, and that is so much fun to play with. It has a music mode, so if you wanted to do music with it, you can do that. It works well. But the other thing is if you have 2 of these rather than just 1 of them, you can sync them together perfectly with any mode or any custom mode that you make. You can sync them together. So if you have like 2 on the side of your desk, very cool. The possibilities with this kind of product are so cool because you could have a desk setup and then outline your monitor or do something crazy. Like there are so many different ways to customize this thing, and you can just reuse it a bunch of times. All you have to do is get new sticky. But even for me, I didn't have to get a new sticky after taking them on and off a couple times. The other cool thing is that these are compatible with Google Assistant and Amazon Echo. Actually, I think those are too. Those are compatible with Google Assistant and Amazon Echo. But guys, again, if you wanna check out any of these top 5 or actually 6 deals, there are Amazon links below for the US, UK, Canada, and international links. I love me some RGB accessories. I know you guys do too. Now is the best time to pick them up. This Prime Day has been very nice. These deals have been quite good. But this was Consumer Tech Review, and I'll see you guys in the next video.